Hello there. I hope you're having a beautiful weekend. Um, I'm Adam, and today we'll be talking about how to read a METAR for our aviation professionalism class. So let's start with the basics, the 101. What exactly is a METAR? So a METAR is a coded weather report that's primarily used by pilots and meteorologists. These reports are issued at like each METAR station um, every hour and are valid for just an hour or so. So they do them every hour and they last for an hour. Um, so what you might be asking is, well, what does METAR stand for? That's a lot of letters. So METAR stands for Meteorological Aerodrome Report. Um, so that's a lot. So let's break that down. So meteorological kind of means that like the branch of science concerned with the processes and phenomena of the atmosphere. Especially when it comes to like forecasting the weather. So really important for like the aviation community and like weather reporting, that sort of thing. And an aerodrome is a location from which aircraft flight operations take place, and it's pretty broad. So that includes things like smaller airfields for like general aviation, large commercial airports, military bases, that sort of thing. And so, one thing you might be asking also is like, why should you care about this? So METARs are really, really important for pilots because they provide up-to-date weather information, from or for specific airports and aerodromes, and it's super important for like flight safety, flight planning, aeronautical decision making, all kinds of stuff that's like absolutely essential for us as pilots. Personally, at least as my experience so far, and probably going forward, I'd say like the most important thing is for takeoff and landing calculations. You want to be able to know, how long it's gonna take to get off the runway or to land, or to clear an obstacle, so you don't crash into something. It's super important. So make sure we get this down. Okay, so what does a METAR look like? So when you go on, say, aviationweather.gov, you type in, KHIO, Hillsborough, um, then you'll get, bam, something like this. um, so that's a lot of confusing jargon, just a bunch of letters and numbers just strung across. So let's break it down. So KHIO stands for I'm sorry. So the first part is it's called the ICAO location indicator. Um, so for this one that I did, it was for Hillsborough. So Hillsborough's ICAO indicator is KHIO, and some others nearby include Portland PDX, KCVO for Corvallis, um, all sorts of stuff. And so this next one indicates the date and time of the observation. So this first 23 is the day of the month. So in this case, I pulled this METAR on August 23rd. And 1853Z is the time that the METAR was taken in UTC. And UTC is something called Coordinated Universal Time, and which is based in like Greenwich, London, and it's used for like all aviation stuff. So at least for us, when it's standard time, UTC is about 8 hours ahead of the West Coast, and when it's daylight savings time, like right now, it's usually about 7 hours ahead. So to look at this next guy, VRB03KT. So what does that mean? So VRB stands for variable in this report, which means the wind's coming from lots of different directions. And you might not just get VRB. You also might get a G in there if there's gusts, or if it's just calm winds, it'll have just 0, 0. And normally it's in like degrees if it's coming from a particular direction. So it'll be 27003 if it's coming from the west, or 180 if it's coming from the south, that sort of thing. And this last bit, 0.3 kt, is the wind speed in knots. In this case, it's 3 knots. And right here for 10 sm, this indicates the visibility. In this case, it's it's always in statute miles. So we're looking at 10 statute miles, which is really good visibility. But it can also have a slash. If it's like you can have 1/2 statute miles, and that means half statute mile visibility. Okay, let's break this guy down some more. So this next one, OVC038, indicates cloud cover. In this case, we're looking at overcast, so the sky is completely covered. And there's a few other things you can see here, like CLR means the sky is clear. FEW, few, means there's just a few clouds. SCT means scattered, so a bit more clouds. And broken means there's lots of clouds, and overcast is a full ceiling. So when we refer to the term ceiling, it's either OVC overcast or BKN broken. And 038 here means that the ceiling is 3,800 feet above the ground. And for this next one right here, we're just going to get temperature and dew point in Celsius. And for this last guy here, we're looking at atmospheric pressure. In this case, it's 30.17 inches of mercury, so it's a higher pressure than the standard 29.98. And if you're wondering what the dew point is, it's the temperature at which air becomes saturated with moisture and water vapor begins to condense into dew. And it's really important to determine things like fog, frost, icing, which can have huge impacts on visibility and performance. Okay. So just to wrap this up, we're going to look at something that may or may not be on a METAR, which is the remarks section. So first, it'll start with RMK for remarks. This A02 here shows the type of weather sensor used. If it's A01, it's an automatic station without a precipitation sensor, and 02 means that it is being read with a precipitation sensor. This SLP216 here means it's the sea level pressure in millibars. And in this case, it's 1021.6 millibars. Finally, we got this guy that indicates the temperature and the dew point in tenths of degrees Celsius. So right here, it shows 13.9 degrees Celsius, and the dew point is 6.1 degrees Celsius. And there's some other things we can see in this section too, like PKWND. You might see it says peak wind. You might see a P followed by a few letters, which means hourly precipitation, which shows the amount of precipitation in the past hour in hundredths of an inch. So like a P003 would mean 0.03 inches. If you see 4/ followed by more letters, it means snow depth. So if you got 4005, we'd show like 5 inches of snow on the ground. There's lots of things that could pop up here. So now you got the basics down of how to read a METAR. So they're super important. Like I said, it provides information about weather conditions. Specific dates and times. You got the wind, visibility, cloud cover, temperature, dew point, and atmospheric pressure, which are all super important for setting the instruments and flight planning, and all sorts of things. And this is something you'll be doing before every flight, so better to get it down sooner than later. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I hope that you feel confident, at least a bit more so, when you read METARs going forward. Have a great rest of the day, and I hope you guys have an awesome summer.